Hi friends, I think it is safe to say winter is officially over here. Technically, my last frost date has not passed yet. It's currently listed as like mid-March, I think like the 12th or the 14th. But I checked the probability charts, and for my area, it's predicted that there is only a 30% chance that we could get down to 32 degrees and a 0% chance that we could get down to 28 degrees. So for me, that is close enough. I'm calling it, and I'm going to go ahead and get moving on spring. I'm located in west central portion of Florida in zone 9A. I'm actually right on the border between 9A and 9B, so during the winter, my microclimate leans towards 9A, but during the summer, my microclimate leans towards 9B. If you're north of me, you'll be about a month behind since your temperatures are going to take a little bit longer to warm up. If you're south of me, you guys are about a month ahead, so it is probably pretty hot already. Understanding your garden's microclimate is so incredibly helpful. Where I live, I'm kind of at a higher elevation. I live on a slight hill a few miles from the coast in Spring Hill. So things that are special about my garden area is that it tends to stay cooler in the winter, but the hill I'm on is a benefit in the summers because I do get a lot more wind, which keeps my plants cool. I've never had to use a shade cloth because of this. Even my beds that are in full sun. The best way to monitor your microclimate is to get a thermometer and place it outside your home and start recording things you observe in your garden journal. As you go through your gardening journey, you will start to see trends, and then you can make better decisions about when and what to grow throughout the year. Speaking of what and when to grow, let's jump right into that. I'm going to tell you all the things I'm going to be planting this month, a few projects I have going on, and one special tip for the month. Don't forget to stay tuned to the very end because we're going to be doing our third giveaway of the year, and you don't want to miss that. Last month, I had 3 lucky winners who got the Roselle seeds. So congratulations to Lori, Naomi, and Norma Jean. Believe it or not, there are still a few cool weather crops that can continue planting this month, like arugula, Chinese cabbage, kohlrabi, Swiss chard, celery, carrots, green onions, not the bulbing onions, radishes, and then only your heat tolerant lettuces like Jericho or something like an Ethiopian kale. You probably noticed that most of these are quick harvest plants. They are typically ready between 30 and 60 days. This will be your last planting, and I encourage you to plant those right now. Don't wait till the end of the month. Or you could pick up some transplants, which would give you a nice, good running start. I don't know about you, but I'm a little sad that I won't be able to grow any more broccoli, but you can grow kohlrabi, which is in the brassica family, and I love it. So I'm putting in a bunch of those right now just to get my last brassica fix before I can't grow these again for 8 long months. But we're not going to be sad about that because we have some very cool warm season crops that we can grow. It's a bit too late for tomatoes, but you could start some Everglade tomatoes now, which are known for producing throughout the dead of summer here in Florida, as long as you give them a little bit of shade. You can also start peppers, roselle, squash, summer and winter varieties, bean, melons, that's cantaloupe, watermelons, honeydew, corn, cucumbers, okra, and eggplant. I'm going to confess something to you guys. I actually started some corn, melons, cucumbers, and squashes in trays about 3 weeks ago. I know I said I was going to wait, but I couldn't help myself. I was really concerned about the cold weather, which is why I did not want to put them in the beds directly. But these types of crops don't do well in trays, so I did take some precautions. I used my bigger trays and pots so I would not have to up pot them. And the pots that I used, I don't have to like scoop the plants out with my little trusty spoon. I can pour them out into my hand and then place them directly in the bed, which will help me not have to touch the roots that much. Now, before we go any further, I gotta show you what I did with these corn. I have all of these little empty paper towel and toilet paper rolls. I usually use them to block worms like cutworms from eating the stems of my seedlings, but those worms have really scaled down this winter, so I've been collecting them and I decided I was going to turn them into little pots for my corn. That way, all you have to do when I plant them is to actually bury the whole roll with the plant in them. The cardboard will break down over time and the corn roots shouldn't be hurt when I transplant them into the bed. So stay tuned for the progress and I'll let you know how these goes. Worst case, if we get a late frost, I will be able to bring these in the shed or inside the house. Or if they do get taken out by a frost, I still have plenty of time to replant these. Now let's talk about our hot season crops. Here are a few that you can grow, like tropical spinaches. Those are things like Malabar, Okinawa, Perpetual, Longevity, New Zealand, Ethiopian kale, and Siso spinaches. Then there's amaranth, loofah, Seminole pumpkins, Everglades tomatoes, pigeon peas, sweet potatoes, and cowpeas. I actually really like summer gardening here, but I know it's not for everyone. I really want to encourage you guys to give it a shot. You know what? Let's do a challenge. This will be a fun little experiment, especially for you guys that don't like to garden during the summer. Do me a favor and pick one or two of these ones that we just mentioned and grow them this summer. Once you have the plants started, I want you to really neglect these plants through the summer. Don't do anything about the bugs. Don't fertilize. Let the summer rains water them. I mean, maybe water them a little at first until we start getting our daily rains. What I really want you to experience is that most of these summer veggies grow very well all on their own. If you want to accept this challenge, head down to the comments and leave me a note and tell me what you are planning to grow and promise that you are going to neglect it. I'm hoping that you will experience what I normally experience, which is an abundant harvest and an influx of good bugs in the garden. Also, I think you will see how healthy your soil becomes by keeping it planted throughout those summer months. So think about it. I hope you'll give it a shot. If you are finding this video helpful or just entertaining, go ahead and hit that like button. The more likes this video gets, the more people will see it and hopefully will decide to start a garden, which I would absolutely love. It is such a joy for me to see more people growing their own food in their backyard. Now let's jump into the projects we have going on this month. The first project I'll be tackling is transplanting all my pepper and tomato plants. I've actually pruned the tops off of all of my pepper plants, and this is to help encourage the pepper to stay short and bushy so that it doesn't grow super tall and require a support. Get that done before you put them in their forever home. When I transplant my tomatoes, I'll be building their support system. I have tried every kind of support. The round cages, bamboo stakes, the square cages. I have even let them grow unstaked. I still have not found the way that seems the most effective. They are either too time consuming or they require way too much effort from me. The easiest way I've found so far is to leave them unsupported, but then you have the issue that they take up way too much space and the fruit gets eaten up by bugs. So that way doesn't really work either. So this season, I'm going to attempt to do the Florida weave. I'll do a video on that when I put them in the ground, but basically the Florida weave just means having two posts and you plant several plants in a line in between those two posts and use twine to weave in between the plants and the poles. I will still prune off the lower branches, but after that, I'm just going to let them grow wild. Cross your fingers. Let's see if this way will be the winner. I'll also be planting a bunch of flowers. I'm planting a lot of flowers this season for many reasons. Sometimes it's just because they are pretty and the pollinators love them, like sunflowers, cosmos, and zinnias. But I'm also going to be growing things like calendula and chamomile to use medicinally. But the flowers I'm most excited for are Florida natives. I'm growing blanket flowers, purple cone flowers, swamp milkweed, and butterfly milkweed for the native bees and butterflies. I'm starting all these from seed, and it has been a big learning experience for me. They're a bit different to start than what I'm used to, but I'm learning a lot, and I'll share that with you guys once I make a bit more positive progress. Oh, I almost forgot. I'm going to grow nasturtium and butterfly pea. I don't like spicy stuff, so the nasturtium is just to be pretty, but the butterfly pea will be for our teas. Very exciting stuff there. Another project for this month that I wanted to point out was pruning. We had an interesting winter and I have a lot of plants that have some serious cold damage. I caution you to wait until the middle to the end of the month to do this, but once all threat of frost has passed, you can get out there and prune down your natives, your ornamentals, and your perennials. that might have received some damage from those frosts. When I'm pruning the cold damage off, I usually start at the top and clip off 8 foot at a time until I start to see green on the stem. So I only do about 6 inches to a foot, and I cut to look for that green. If you get down, oh, there we go. If you get down to the last 1 to 3 feet and it still doesn't have any green showing on the inside of that stem, stop. The plant may still bounce back, and the best thing you can do is just leave it alone and wait. I wouldn't give up on it until we hit May or June. If you see no new growth by then, it's probably a goner. But I will say I have had plants grow back that I did not think had a chance to come back, and they came back with a vengeance. I have also pulled plants early thinking they were dead, just to find out that when I ripped them out, they still had a very healthy and robust root system, which probably would have grown back if I had just left it alone. Now we've come to the best part of the video, which is the special tip and seed giveaway. The special tip from this month is for preparing for sweet potatoes. I need to start making my sweet potato slips. Sweet potatoes are a bit different than white potatoes in that we don't bury the whole potato to create the plant. You actually let the sweet potato sprout and grow from the actual slip, is what they're called. Once they're about 6 inches long, you break them off and plant them individually. I know it seems early to start this process, so if you're not ready yet, no stress. You can actually start these as early as now, or you can wait all the way to July to start slips. Slips take about 4 to 6 weeks to develop. There's a couple different ways that you can develop the slips, but the way that I found that works best is just to plant the sweet potato halfway in the dirt on its side. So I'm just going to tuck that sweet potato in, and you can see that I'm leaving a portion of the sweet potato sticking up out of the ground. And all you have to do is water it from time to time and basically ignore it. You should start to see sprouts on the potatoes within about 3 weeks. After another 3 weeks, the slips, they'll be big enough to break off the plant. I prefer starting mine earlier so that my beds are available come fall for cool season crops rather than being full of sweet potato vines. If you do decide to start your slips now, you can expect that they will be ready to harvest around late August or early September. I basically supply my whole family with their sweet potatoes for the year. So I'm burying 6 potatoes. That should give me anywhere from 25 to 50 slips easily. If I end up planting about 35 slips into 2 beds this summer, I should get a harvest of about 50 pounds of sweet potatoes. Last year, I planted 20 slips and I had a little over 30 pounds of sweet potatoes. So that's basically 1.5 pounds per slip. According to some statistics I read, most people eat only about 6 pounds of sweet potatoes a year per person. We don't eat a lot of white potatoes, mainly because we almost always have sweet potatoes, so we eat those instead. My best guess is we eat about 30 pounds a year